Hey kids, it's me, Johnny Fox.
And it's me, Ian Parker.
Hey, and tonight we'll make love till we die. No, we won't. But if you get that reference, you're in the right place and we're off to a good start. Because tonight we celebrate the 40th anniversary of the return of the living dead.
Yay! One of the greatest zombie films ever, in my opinion.
Oh, so say many.
Definitely.
So say many.
100%.
So it was, in fact, we're a little bit early. It was August the 16th. It's a US movie release, screen date, but it's all good. It'll be that time by the time we get the video up on YouTube, so it's all good.
Yeah.
This is just a bit of chit chat. What else have we got here? It's only September 3rd to wait till we got it over here in the UK.
Well,
same year, 85, which, considering for some films we had to wait quite some time back in the day.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty good.
I can remember growing up where a lot of the time we were talking about 6 months, a year, 2 years kind of thing for something to get overseas and then eventually released to, you know, sort of like purchase yourself. I mean, there was that stage of like rental, like cinema rental, all kind of thing. But yeah, I always remember things taking a lot longer.
Yeah, that's proper quick, that.
Indeed. Well, that's if my research is correct. Of course. So 1985. I'll do the math for your kids. That's 40 years ago.
I was only born earlier that year, so yeah, I missed out on it. So I wasn't old enough to actually enjoy it at the cinema when it came out anyway. So
I saw it in the late 90s in Leeds at the cinema.
Yeah.
There was a cinema on the Hedgerow that do like triple bills starting at 10 o'clock. So I won't be able to do it now, I'll be asleep. But yeah, it showed 1, 2 and 3. So we all kind of went to the bar a little bit during 2 and then everybody heading back to the seats for 3.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that was that the first time you'd seen it, or just the first time on the big screen? Had you seen it before?
No. The first time I saw it, I was still at school, and one of the guys that I went to school with won Sky for a year, all the full package. And this was back when we'd only just got a video recorder, so like someone winning Sky was like, oh my god,
channels,
a celebrity at school. And I kept scanning all the listings because he said he'd tape me a film. Now, I didn't know how it worked. Like, obviously, if you're watching something like that, it's on one channel on your telly and you change channels on your Skybox. We didn't know. So I kept saying, can you record me that? And they were like, no, because my mum was watching something else. I'm like, I'll just put it on a different channel. So, yeah, I got him to record me Return of the Living Dead. Oh, it must have been 1987, 1988. It could have been like one of its first showings on Sky.
Yeah.
I got it home, and my mum never let me watch things, but she worked a little bit later, so I came from school. I could usually watch about half a horror movie before she got home, and I have to turn it off. That's how I watched The Evil Dead. She did catch me watching that. She was furious. And yeah, stuck it on, and it was just like it was actually genuinely scary. Watching it too young, I was terrified, absolutely terrified. It was only as I got to be a teenager and we kept watching it. We put it on at parties and stuff. Like, people would talk over it, but we put it on like if we're having little house parties and that.
Yeah, we used to do stuff like that, like background sort of noise sort of thing, and just like, yeah. It's definitely one of those films where, like, say, if you watch it too young, it can be traumatizing to a degree. I mean, Child's Play was one for me.
Right.
Watching that, I watched it far too young. I must have only been about 4 or 5 or something. And I'll be honest, and I say this all the time, but it put me off having an Action Man for years because I'm just like, no, I'm not having anything too much. No.
I know it's a bit topic. My very first one, we got a video recorder in 1985 when I was 10. And we didn't have any tapes. My dad borrowed the Italian Job off one of his friends at work, so we watched that. And then he didn't realise what it was. He borrowed Nightmare on Elm Street. And back then, parents would go to the pub. My parents weren't neglectful. They set me and my sister watching telly, say bed by 8:30, and they go to the pub. Everything would always be fine. So before they went to the pub, they said, my dad asked this guy at work and said, "Is it all right for kids to watch?" And this guy just went, "Oh yeah." So my dad, me and my sister, I was 10, she was 12, put Nightmare on Elm Street on, and they left the house. When they came back, we were just in tears, totally traumatised.
Oh man, yeah, I can imagine. Fucking hell, it's
2 kids watching it alone in an empty house.
No. Oh Jesus!
But it made us the men we are today.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. A little bit off kilter, I would say.
The one I enjoyed, for a bit of background here. If anybody doesn't know, Return of the Living Dead is a sequel to George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Sort of. Everybody's meta now. Everybody thinks Ryan Reynolds breaks the fourth wall and it's fucking fantastic, but this thing was incredibly meta in 1985. As written, where is it? What's his name?
John Russo.
John Russo.
Yes, written in part by John Russo, who co-wrote Night of the Living Dead.
Well, it was basically Zombie Lore branched off, didn't it? Basically, that's what happened.
They apparently they had a very amicable split and a very friendly relationship right to the end, and they found a way around it where your films will be Living Dead films and Romero films will be Off the Dead films.
Yeah,
it wasn't just films, though, was it? John Russo did before Return of the Living Dead came out. John Russo did the novel Return of the Living Dead.
Yes.
I don't want if you sorry, I'll shut up. If we're heading that way.
No. I'll say it's. That's the thing with it, because the novel that it's sort of based on isn't the film that we get.
Yeah. So the I don't know if you guys have read it. The Return of the Living Dead novel is like a direct continuation for Night of the Living Dead, but everything's settled down again. It's not Romero's total apocalypse, which I adore. Day is my favourite, I have to say, just because it's so bleak. So it's kind of normal life returns, and the novel starts with a little girl's funeral, and somebody's got to do it, kind of thing. Everybody's talking about we've got to do it. Nobody wants to do it, and it is drive like a spike through her head to make sure she don't come back. So the novel really is set in that like slow walking zombie, gut munching Romero and Russo kind of universe. Because I'd seen the film before I managed to find a copy of the novel and read it. Right excited, started reading it. I'm like, this isn't. It's very good.
It's wrong.
Yeah, quite expensive. It's published by Hamlin. They've become a really collectible publisher now, but it's worth it.
Yeah, directed, of course, by Dan O'Bannon. Although, before this came to pass, once they'd adapted the novel into a screenplay, there was a point where Tobe Hooper of Chainsaw fame was attached to direct. That'd have been a pretty different movie.
Oh,
yeah,
I would imagine.
Yeah,
I would think so.
Jesus.
Well, that didn't quite pan out. Here comes Dan O'Bannon. Dan O'Bannon with the opportunity to direct his first feature. More known as a writer, with credits such as like Dark Star, right? With James Cameron. James Cameron? Or no, John Carpenter.
John Carpenter.
I've got the C on the brain. That's right. He also had a hand in writing Alien. That did quite well. Some people have heard of that. Dead and Buried, Life Force. Most people who, especially males who are of a certain age around that time, probably know that one. Not to mention a little film called Total Recall.
Yeah.
So, not too shabby. Not a bad CV there, Dan.
Good list there,
yeah. But directing this as his first directorial effort, Not a bad job. We like it, Dan.
Oh,
Kind decent, yeah. It'll pass.
Yeah, in fact, John Russo, a little bit of trivia. John Russo, he's the first to get stabbed in the head in Night of the Living Dead.
yeah.
He's a little cameo. That's that. If you win any beer for that at a pub trivia quiz, remember you always won now.
I think he does a radio voice in Return of the Living Dead as well.
The radio, but that's Dan. That's Dan O'Bannon.
Is that Dan O'Bannon?
He's the helicopter pilot or the helicopter officer.
I knew it was someone.
It's Dan O'Bannon.
Dan O'Bannon, right?
Only because the scheduled actor didn't turn up.
Okay. It wasn't like a Hitchcock type cameo where I shall appear.
Yeah. To be fair, when it comes to being like a sort of a get in the trenches director for his first time, the extras, the zombie extras, they were eating calf brains.
Yeah, real actual brains.
Real calf brains, yeah.
Calf brains. To eat actual brains.
Yeah, which Dan O'Bannon gladly gluttoned in front of them just to say, look, I'm not asking you to do anything I wouldn't do myself. I'm not.
Oh, so he scoffed them at all.
Yeah.
Can't be good for you.
He gave a bonus to the ones that were willing to do it.
He did,
I would say, but yeah, said like, I'll do it first. Like, I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do. Like Johnny says, that he wouldn't do himself. But he said, yeah, there's an extra bonus in it if you will do it.
With all due respect, I doubt Christopher Nolan's ever done that. Or probably ever going to do that.
I watched an interview with one of the effects guys that did the Human Centipede. Not one of my favourites. It's a bit like gimmicky.
Yeah.
But they made obviously the poo, and it had to be edible. So it was like coconut oil and chocolate and all sorts of sweet things. And he made a batch for the film, and that was going to be it. But they had to have him on set because everybody that worked on that film walked past and just went, oh yeah, I'll have a little one.
I'll have a little bit. I'll have a little nugget.
Ate all the like fake shit for the film.
Oh, Jesus. I know that do you know the coating for Tarman? That was made. The ingredient that they used for that was an additive that they used for milkshakes, just to thicken it up. They also used it for the blob as well. That's it's a gelatin type thing. I'm not this kind of thing, but that's how they got the slime.
Of the blob.
Say again, sorry.
Was it the remake of the blob? Was it the 80s blob?
I think it must have been, yeah. I've just seen reference that it was done in the blob, the same sort of technique, and it's a milkshake additive. So yeah. Again, practical effects, they just work. They do the job, don't they? So.
And films like The Void, you can tell like people are reacting to something huge that's there, and the shadows fall right, and everything's just perfect.
Return of the Living Dead. On finish of its theatrical run, did rake in 14 or a little over actually $14 million, which ain't too shabby.
No. Especially back in day. I mean,
yeah, trying to convert that into modern money, that's probably pretty decent. On a budget of, people can only really guess at this. I can't seem to find a real official number. But it seems to be on a budget of being made for around $4 million,
right?
Including advertising and pay for the sound and all of that in together. So that's a £10 million profit.
Yeah,
there's no wonder
a 3.5 return on your investment, isn't it? So yeah, not bad.
I mean, that's a successful movie, however you slice it. It could be a cult classic. It could be a video nasty or I don't know what, but that's a solid performing, successful movie on those numbers. If you care about such things,
straight.
Yeah. It's real.
So for every ticket sale they got at box office, a copy of the soundtrack sold as well. So the soundtrack has sold as many copies worldwide as theatrical release tickets.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was so everyone was so excited and giddy about the music kind of thing.
Well, it's a huge part of a film, though, isn't it? The soundtrack and what goes along with it. It's you hear those songs and get like outside of watching the film, you hear one of those songs and it takes you straight back to that scene, doesn't it?
Oh,
just great. A lot of music. There's that.
Yeah, certainly.
There's always that connection in there of music and film.
The soundtrack featuring the likes of The Cramps, 45 Grave, Flesh Eaters, Rocky Erickson, The Damned, The Tall Boys, Jet Blackberries, SSQ, and the FUs. I mean, there you go. Look at that. That's pretty.
Absolute classic. Again, sorry, I've got another anecdote. My sister used to go to university in Liverpool, and I go visit her. And she was really into all the upcoming rave scene there. And there was a really big night. It was one of the early nights at Cream, which became a big thing. And Paul Oakenfold, I think, was playing when he was still quite unknown.
Yeah.
And I went across Liverpool to go to this thing. She was saying, it's brilliant, it's brilliant. And I got off the coach and went to the big HMV and bought a tape of the soundtrack. Because it was the first and only time I'd ever seen it to buy. And I had my little Walkman with me. And I got to hers. She was living in halls of residence at the time. I was kipping on her floor. And everybody was getting ready. And I was just like, do you know what? I just want to listen to this tape. And I had, like, in my satchel, I had a bunch of old horror comics. So, and all the friends went to, apparently, this amazing night. And I was just like, do you know what? I'm going to stop here. And I listened to that soundtrack over and over and over and over again.
Nice.
I got back and she was like, I've been really worried about you. All right. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm
all good. Oh, it's wicked. It's difficult to pick a favourite zombie film because they've all got nuances and differences, but it's definitely one of my top three. And it's mainly because you've got a great cast of characters, which isn't your usual sort of thing. They're all outcasts and weirdos and that kind of thing. But it's the comedy element to it as well. I mean, like Frank and Fred, you know, when they're sort of running around warehouse, and just just those two alone are fantastic in that film. There's some of my favourite bits are just them, just being shit.
Decides to just strip completely naked and sing and dance in the graveyard for no real reason.
Guys, light over here. Trash is taking the clothes off again.
She was hired for that reason, though, wasn't she?
If a lot of people are thinking like that makes no sense, it's just gratuitous, that kind of thing happened. I had groups of friends, we hung out, and there's one weirdo that does that. I mean, for me, it was a guy, but his clothes.
It's always a guy.
On a regular basis.
It's always a dude that does it.
For no reason. Apparently, somebody, I think maybe one of the producers, came in while they're filming the dance scene. And of course they go, Dan, you can't do that. You can't show like Bush. It'll never pass. We'll never get it out there. Their solution? Okay, Linnea, shave it. And they're like, Dan, you're making it worse, Dan. And of course the fact that it's Bert and Ernie is entirely on purpose. You know it is. I can't really confirm that, but I'm pretty sure those characters were named for a rather specific reason. Speaking of Freddy,
the Krueger.
Yeah, not the Krueger. Our Freddy. Living Dead Freddy. Freddy's, as with a lot of these things, there's several versions. Of course, like the theatrical version. There's maybe the home version. There's the television
TV version.
There's the TV version. One of the ways you can tell if you're watching the TV version, not just because it's on your TV, because you might have, however you've got yourself a copy of this movie to watch, is if you keep a close eye on Freddy's jacket.
On his jacket on the back.
Yeah. As written on the back of his jacket, it was quite simply the words, fuck you, as any good punk should have on the back of your jacket. Knowing that there's no way that would fly and the cuts would be really awkward and the film would play out terribly, they made the second jacket and just wrote television version on it because fuck 'em. Which, I mean, that's punk rock. For want of a better phrase, that's a punk rock way to make a movie. I like that a lot.
Do you know when they've got the half zombie on the table, and she says, "Oh, I can feel myself rot. And it's the pain of being dead." And then in this video, it highlights the fact that these zombies that are running around, and let's just point out that they run. It's one of the first running zombies.
Pretty flighty.
Yeah, they're not moaning. They're screaming in pain, and it's like, again, it's one of those things that I never really thought about the motivation for zombies doing anything. But then when this guy talked about it in the video, saying, "Oh, this scene talks about it being like really painful to be dead," and they all confirm it, don't they? Say, "Oh, it's painful," but then it just paints them in a different light as zombies. Just the fact that the only way to satiate is pain, got to eat human brains, and it's not really focused on in that film, really. It's not something that you immediately think of as like, oh, terrifying zombies in pain. But it's a deeper level, I think. And I'd never thought of it until I watched this video. And I just want to know what you guys think of that side of them zombies.
I think that whole scene is really, like, bizarrely interesting. I love that whole scene. Because you see one up close, like, it's not in the dark, it's not in the rain, they're not running about. Yeah. It's like there. And that whole, the pain of being dead, it's like really like in the middle of this kind of cool punk fun, naked, whatever's going on, gags, and you just get this split second of like something a lot darker. And then as soon as it pans up to like the characters say, it hurts to be dead, then you can hear the zombie half woman just going, brains, brains, brains. And that like serious moment of like, shit, yeah, man, it hurts apparently to be dead. Like that's instantly gone, and we're back into the comedy fun nonsense. But
absolutely.
That little bit is like a really, I'm glad it's in there, but I don't think it fits. But it does because it doesn't fit.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's just it's unsettling, isn't it, for that brief moment? It's like that pause on a roller coaster kind of thing, where it's like, this is a bit weird, and then you're back into it, and
even
like back laugh.
Bring your shotguns. They're gonna keep coming.
Well, they're smart zombies, though, aren't they?
Got to be burnt. That's
the only way to stop them. The end of the movie, just nuke everything. That's the only way they've got in their heads to attempt to stop this outbreak. And all it does is spread it even more, obviously. The nuclear blast at the end, it's like, I thought when you said, like, when you were saying about, like, something that was unsettling, I thought you were going to mention about the nuclear blast at the end, just, like, casually blowing up an entire, like, the Eastern Seaboard.
Half a nation.
Spoilers, kids. It's not a happy ending. Which doesn't like there are no survivors.
It's my favourite musical
in this movie.
Yeah,
you can get pretty attached to these characters if you're the right kind of person watching. Like I say, you relate to them. You've had similar fun party nights out, or whatever, and all of that, and the comedy, and they can be very endearing. And Bert and Ernie are doddering around, and it's it's all great, and then it ends in the most ending way anything can end, pretty much.
It is very much a full stop at the end, isn't it? It's like, right, boom, done.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr. Fox and Mr. Hound, for having me on. I've thoroughly enjoyed it tonight. It's been lovely chatting to fans of one of my favourite films about one of my favourite films.
Kids, we're getting the full plug-in. Kids, this is Al Redbeard. You can find him at the
wherever it may be.
Toys and Trains.
Vintage Toys and Trains on
up
Facebook.
There in that Sheffield. Yeah. If you'd like to make your skin a different colour, but not on a tanning bed, in a much, much cooler, much more socially acceptable way.
And probably permanent.
No, dude, I'm retired.
You're not doing that no more? No. Oh, okay.
I've called it a day. I get paid full time to play with Lego and Star Wars figures now.
Lego, you say?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
On that note, as the sun sets slowly in the west, we'll bid you a fond farewell.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
See you soon.
Good night. Cheers, mate. I'll see you soon.